Wow. Pura vida, mi gente. Hey, how you guys doing? Pure life, pura vida. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys taking the time to do that here, especially on your Monday. I'll give you time back soon, but thanks for being here right now. All right, we're about to get into a very interesting discussion I had. Uh, I met this brother, you know. He's from the Fulani people of Africa. He's going to tell you. We're gonna talk about a lot of things. I had this discussion with him yesterday, and we wanted to pre-record it. I said he was saying a lot of things, so I'm like, hey, let me just record, pre-record it so we can kind of like break it down and nobody's lost, and there's no dead air and things like that. And I think he was saying pretty cool stuff, and I wanted you guys to hear it. And you're gonna see how it correlates with what we've been showing and talking about and hinting at, right? I see some people in the chat said they're confused by the title. I don't know why, it's very clear. But don't want you understand about Black Caucasian colonizers or Black Europeans. See, the brother, he don't call them Black Europeans, he calls them Black Caucasians. That's what he calls the Black Europeans, and that's what they are, right? Who's the original Caucasians? We just get a video the other day about the first people of Europe, what they finding with their genetics and in the bones, the oldest bones and all that. I mean, we've gone over this whole info about the early people of Europe, different parts of it. We've read the anthropological books, so this ain't no surprise to us, right? Well, this brother's on it. He's been on it, and he has a whole perspective that we missing a lot in the Americas, right? And even in Africa, because his people are a marginalized group. His people have been struggling in Africa by the ruling ethnic groups. So we're gonna get his version, his side of his truth of his people and what they know, which confirms the research we have done, we're doing, and I've been hinting at. So if this is a bit emotional for you, like right now, I'm gonna tell you, like if you're a Pan-African, this is obviously you're gonna hurt you, and you're probably not gonna want to hear this, and you're gonna doubt it and fight it because you are stuck on a belief, which is like a religious mind state. So we're not dealing with that stuff. So you can go, cry a river somewhere else. The truth will come out eventually. This will all be mainstream one day, and you're gonna remember when we were doing this. We're like, yeah, and you're gonna embrace this history. We're gonna be like, wow, look at this. This all makes sense more than what they have told us. All their false narratives of history and stuff. Hold on, guys. Let me. So yeah, a lot of people might because they're part of the ruling ethnic groups of Africa. You're gonna mention them. And a lot of people are. There's a lot of these nations came into Africa, guys. I already got a couple videos on that, right? You already know. So let me before we start, I should just remind you guys of that. Okay. So I just made the playlist so you guys can be able to access it. I called it Africans in parentheses. I mean in quotes, right? Quotes. Not from Africa. Africans not from Africa, right? So we start out with the Shona people, their origins in Persia. They ended up being called Bantu people, right? They ended up in Great Zimbabwe, right? They were coming from Asia, from their own mouths. You can hear it from the research. You guys know I've already, got the video. If you haven't watched it, check it out. We did a great research. There's a 2-hour video on the Hausa, Khan and Border people. and their origins in Baghdad, Iraq, coming through Palestine, Arabia, and one of their progenitors, the Bajajida, coming from Baghdad, Iraq. It's in their oral traditions, and the migration history tells it. And then we got the Lebu people of Senegal, originating in Hindustan, India, confirmed by tribal historian and member. All right, Omar Gueye. Omar Gueye, shout out to Omar Gueye. We came from India. Okay, like I already told you guys, like I'm not done with this. The more clear I get, the more research, the more understanding I get of all the different ethnic groups and people of Africa. I'll have be able to distinguish who's who, who's with who, and who's not with who. So that's kind of what we're doing today. All right, I was able to, you know, have the pleasure to meet Cimarron. Shout out to Cimarron. Yes, I. Shout out to Cimarron. We had a great discussion about, like 4 or 5 years ago. He was on my Kurimeo meditations, one of my episodes. We're gonna start that up again. Make sure that we got people that want to come up and talk, tell their story. You're more than welcome to. If you want to get on, just let me know. If you got something interesting to talk about and show. But shout out to Cimarron. Ever since then, his channel has grown a lot. And shout out, to all the French-speaking people out there in the world that follow me and follow Cimarron. If you are French-speaking, you will love this channel. It's very aligned to a lot of the research we do here over in our channel, and with Drop Nation, So, we all got our little journeys and our paths to get to the truth. But seems he's got that mem sauce. Seems he's got that water. All right, for all the French-speaking people, just know, guys, that they are learning as well. They are learning as well. So he gets his views, he gets his followers, and he was able to meet this good brother that we are going to be hearing today, which is Lamine Barry Diallo. You can find him on TikTok there. He got almost 93,000 followers there, right? So he got a little clout, all right? I'm just getting to meet him. I only had a conversation with him yesterday, so we're gonna have a lot more discussions most likely with him to get to specific histories. We were kind of all over the place in the discussion, but I try to record some and kind of like get some of the main points, edit it for you guys to hear it out, and then we're gonna eventually prove all that stuff more and more. He's basically proven us, the videos. I mean, the videos I did alone, just go look at the research. The research speaks for itself. All right. So he's going to mention these people that I talked about. These are not the only people that came from other parts of the world into Africa. But he's going to mention a lot more. But these are the people included in what he's going to be saying, like these people right here also that I've talked about and others. All right. So if you want the hookup with his TikTok, all right. This is the links are in the description of this video. Okay, so you can go ahead and follow him. He has a Facebook there as well. Okay. And again, he is a brother from the Fula or Fulani people. I know you guys heard about them. And he's going to let you know how his people were there before these invading migrant tribes, so-called Black Caucasians. From Europe and Asia, Caucasia, right? Europe is Western Asia, so that's what he means, So his people were there a little longer, so they got a whole little story on their own that kind of gets swept away. They kind of get marginalized. A lot of the stuff that happens, all these like ethnic cleansings and wars going on in Africa, he's going to explain, happened because of this, because of the incoming ethnic groups. All these people that came in and created these ethnic groups in Africa, but they're not ancient from these areas. We've been able to trace them. I mean, like literally to the Middle Ages. That's as far as back as we see the first waves of these migrants. Not any more ancient than that. But he's gonna let us know that a lot really came very recently. All right, you're gonna hear him very recently. All right, so shout out to Lamine Barry Diallo, appreciate you coming on, and thank you for that. And shout out to Cimarron for the link up. We're also gonna have some discussions with Cimarron again. Bring him back. So check out his channel as well, you know, and the link is in the description of the video as well. Okay. So let me go ahead and I get the video ready. Okay.
So right now.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on, brother. Hold on. All right. So in this part, when I started recording, he was kind of letting me know where his people are kind of spread out in Africa, like where they are in Africa. And it makes sense. He's trying to explain to me that, you know, his people are like in so many different areas of Africa. They're all spread out and they can all communicate with each other. The Fulani groups, you know, the Fauta or Fula, they have different ways of saying their name based on the country. Like the Portuguese call them a certain thing, the Italians, you know, the other African people call them a certain way. But in general, most people know them as the Fula or the Fulani. Okay, so he's in this map right here where it says red. He's kind of showing a lot of the areas where they are spread out, and he's gonna let us know that, you know, these other ethnic groups that came in, they're basically isolated into specific. They're like in specific areas of Africa. They're not really spread out. That shows they're not really that ancient. They're not like that. Okay, spread out like the Fulani are, and how they can communicate, you know, with each other. You know, so he's gonna explain. Hopefully, you guys could understand a little bit. You know, he has a very heavy. You know, English is not his first language, but he did his best job that he could, and I think in general I understood him. You know, I'll try to go ahead and explain what he's saying as we go. So right here, he's explaining, or we start off, where his people are kind of spread out or located in Africa, and this is the map he's showing. All right, so let's go. Ready, guys?
So right now, at this moment, we are living in this area, yeah, in red. We choose to call it Futa, but if you look at it, we are from the south of Morocco to the north of Cote d'Ivoire, to Sudan, to the border of Ethiopia, but you can't find us till Congo. You can't find us. Even these days, they had a problem there with Fulani herdsmen.
There were a colonization from Black Caucasian in the
some part between 18th century to 19th century. Somewhere between in that cycle. Somewhere in that cycle.
All right, so Cimarron just asked him. So just to be clear, so there was your people, and then there was like an invasion of these Black Caucasians, and he's saying, you know, he's saying 1700s, 1800s. You know, I'll give him all the way to Middle Ages. You know, the first kind of way. It's not like large numbers, but we know there was many ways. But he's saying culminated and the majority came 1700s and 1800s. This is very recent. Listen, guys.
Between the 18, they came with the white people. You know, they said in Africa, they said Africa had been colonized by the European. But in fact, there was not the white European. There was black people, in fact. So I want to start by talking about this map in the screen of Cimarron. You see this map? I'm Fulani. We are Fulani. We are the widest ethnic group in Africa. Sometimes they said we are the third ethnic group, but in true reality, we are the biggest ethnic group in Africa, because sometimes they said the Swahili people are bigger than us, but the Swahili people are not an ethnic group in reality. The Swahili people is defined by the language. So all the people that speak Swahili around Tanzania, to Mozambique, in the East Africa, the Southeast Africa, all these people that speak Swahili has been classified Swahili, but Swahili himself is not an ethnic group. So we are the biggest ethnic group in Africa and the widest. We are the only ethnic group that you can find officially in around 24 to 27 countries officially.
All right. So just to help everybody understand what he's saying, the Fulani people are the most widespread ethnic group in the whole continent of Africa. They try to say, he's saying that Swahili people are the ones, but that's just a language. They're not really ethnic. They're not king folks. They just happen to be speaking the same language. It's not the same, is what he's trying to explain here. Okay. Now, pure. When it's saying Black Caucasians, again, I explained this already. Welcome to the presentation, guys. He means yes, from the Caucasus. Yes, there was the first Caucasians guys were melanated. I've shown you guys this. I've explained this to you. I've hinted at it. I told you, I'm I I believe the Khoisan are coming from there. The Khoisan start in the Mediterranean coming into Africa. That's where they start the history of the Khoisan. That's what they can prove. Okay, so that's what we're talking about. We're talking about that after that, there was, yes, black groups coming in from Asia, the Middle East, South Arabia, Hindustan, Turan, the Caucasus, Turkey, Asia Minor, Europe, Mediterranean. Yes, yes, yes. So if you are new to my channel, just try to catch up. If you're new here, might be too deep for you, but this is a good start to just break the spell. Like, this is gonna help you break spells and just rethink on a whole new level. Okay, because I'm gonna try to explain things as I go. All right. So again, try to stay in subject well with the brother. We're not trying to get too out. But guys, there was so-called black folks or melanated people, Negro people all over the world, guys, not just from Africa, including the Caucasus or Caucasians. So he's not saying black Europeans because it's not just black Europeans. He's calling them black Caucasians because they're coming in from Saudi Arabia, Yemen, uh, uh, Ukraine, Caucasus, Romania, Persia, Turkey, Syria, all right, Iraq, like I just said, like I just showed you, we got videos on this, right? So we're going to continue with what he's saying. So he's trying to make a point that when it comes to the most widespread ethnic group that could be found everywhere, it shows you that they've been in Africa a long time. And they're even able to communicate with each other. They were there before these migrant groups, is what he's trying to explain. All right.
The other ethnic group in Africa, the most of them, you cannot find them even in the whole country. Sometimes you find them in only one city, one town. The big ones like Yoruba, you can find them in one country in the south of Nigeria. To understand my way of thinking.
Yeah.
So I want to start by the starting point to the problem.
I want to explain that to people because a lot of people have a lot of hard time understanding. I know what you're saying, but they don't understand. So I want to break it down to them. So what you're showing us, you're telling us here that there's a people called the Fauta, right? The Fauta. Who?
The Felata, they call us Felata, Fulani, Pulo, Fula.
Okay.
Felata, they call us Felata in Sudan, around Sudan and Ethiopia and Eritrea. They call us the Felata.
Yes.
When you go in the country that was colonized by Portuguese, they call us the Fula. That is the colonizer.
Right there, I was kind of asking them just to break it down, just real quick. All right. So Fulani, just some examples, guys. And we're about to get really deep with him with the whole Fulani people and where their origin is possibly coming from. But there is a lot of funny similarities with them, that I noticed. Well, this ain't a good example, but a lot of them, they wear feathers. They got like these certain type of clothing that looks like native, but we'll get with that. But I just want you to see in general, there are a lot of them look like a more redder toned people, right? Reddish copper, right? And they've been kind of there longer than the people that he's trying to tell you about, guys. All right. And these people are very marginalized. A lot of the wars like these guys were showing me pictures, guys, that I can't show on this video, on this presentation. I edited that out. I told them I couldn't show that. And all these mass murders and massacres going on over there are his people by these ruling ethnic groups. Like, this is a real story going on. Like, this is a real conquest that happened. History has been written. The people who conquered, just like they did in the Americas, wrote the story, rewrote the narratives, put themselves into the history of ancient Africa. Okay? This is what we're talking about, guys. All right? His people got conquered. Look at the clothing, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, but you'll see a lot of more similarities. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of these, like, they have like conch shells and beads on their, like, yeah, like this one, see? That looks like a lot of the Maya people in Guatemala, how they dress, you know. But anyways, we'll that's our whole other episode. But I just wanted to show you kind of like, well, who he's representing, you know, in general, and a little bit of their kind of story, their side. Okay. And so if you're part of the other ruling ethnic groups and you find this offensive, or you're feeling a certain way, then you're not really ready for full truth. This is about really learning. History is not about being biased or trying to be always the good guys and not be the bad guys. Like, that's all we have that history, and probably all of us, like, we probably got good people and bad people in our we got so many ancestors, so much history, and all we can do is heal and learn from it. If we don't learn from history, we're doomed to repeat it. Okay. So, all right, don't take it personal, please. We're just getting started. So catch up on the videos if you're new to my channel. Okay. So here, what is he showing here? This is like, he was talking when he was first talking and showing me this. I was like, what is he talking about? Like, he was literally showing me, he's going to tell you right now that these are the Europeans. These are the Europeans coming in the 1880s. This is when they finally conquered, guys. And it happens to be during the same time of the Berlin Conference, right? And the scramble for Africa. Berlin Conference, right? That's what I'm saying. We get some understanding, right? What is the Berlin Conference? Guys, this is really when Europe really, really, literally conquered or colonized Africa fully, okay? You're going to see it's going to the same times he's talking about. That's why it makes sense what he's saying, okay? The Berlin Conference, 1884, that's the hijack with the whitewashing. This is what we're trying to explain to you. These were not white folks. Wake up. The Berlin Conference of the 1884-85 was a meeting of colonial powers that concluded with the signing of the General Act of Berlin, an agreement regulating European colonization and trade in Africa during the new imperialism period. The conference of 14 countries was organized by Otto von Bismarck, the first Chancellor of Germany, at the request of Leopold II of Belgium. It met on 15 November 1884, and after an adjournment, concluded in 26 February 1885 with the signing of the General Act. Okay, so we got that. Then we got the scramble for Africa. These Black Caucasians or Black Europeans, Black Asians, guys, especially from Europe, in this case from Europe, right? The scramble for Africa was the invasion, conquest, and colonization of most of Africa by 7 Western European powers driven by the Second Industrial Revolution during the late 19th century. That's 1880. That's the late 1800s, guys. That's when they really colonized Africa. They weren't ever there. They had no major settlements or strongholds in Africa before that. Trying to make you understand something. That whole lie about them going there and colonizing and getting all these, they didn't even have no colonies there to grab all these slaves and bring them to the Americas. Okay, so we already know that's a hijack. But they literally scrambled for Africa, guys. That's a deep thing. It's subliminal. Why did the Europeans had to scramble to Africa? What happened where there was Black nobles, and all of a sudden now we got white version of royalty? What happened to the Black nobles? All right, this may be tied to what we're talking about, what he's talking about today. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. Look at the years, and he's gonna tell you who these people are, right?
The real colonizer is the 95% of the soldier.
Yeah. So this is a French army, right? This is an
Yes.
engraving that you're showing us, and this is how they portray the invading forces coming in from Europe, and it's mostly black soldiers, so-called Black Caucasians, right?
And we have the same with the British colonial army. This is the same point, the same thing.
Okay.
They have the same. They are full of black people, but you can't see almost sometimes you will not see no white inside.
Yeah. So these are British troops right here. It says Britannic. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
After they win, these armies they don't go back with the white men in Europe. They stay there.
Yep.
Then they set up ethnic groups. They set up ethnic groups after they cut the land and make these so-called countries. They set up ethnic group in every country, and these ethnic groups is the one that is ruling the country till now.
Mm-hmm.
Right now in Africa, why is too much war in Africa? It is because the ethnic group that was set up by the ancient colonial armies, is the one that is still ruling in Africa. That's the problem. Now I will talk about the origin of these people. Where did they come from?
All right. All right. So we got a little troll and naysayer, like I said. We're not gonna really entertain much, but we're gonna correct them. All right. All right, Reed. I got something for you, Reed. Hold on, Reed. I'm gonna bring you back. I'm gonna take you to the classroom, Reed. Take you to the classroom, okay? So we got this video right here, right? We got Leopold I and his son Charles VI were swarthy and brown men, so-called black, right? So when we talk about the lineage of Leopold, we know about the lineage. Now, later on versions, bastardized, mixed versions of his family, yeah, we know there was. All right? So what I'm going to do, Reed, because you obviously haven't watched it, let's copy this. I'm going to put it in the chat. All right? And you're going to go click on it and watch it. You got homework. All right? Learn some real history. Going back to the brother. All right? Very important what he just said. Okay? These are your ruling ethnic groups, these same people, right? That he was just showing. Those black soldiers, he's saying they never went back. They brought all these black European and Asian soldiers. They never went back. They stayed behind, just like the videos we've been watching recently, right? That I've been uploading, all these stranded castaways, refugees, all these stranded people being left behind, but all these conquistadors, these Sephardic Jews and Moors, right? What happened to all those people? They ended up mixing with the local population or creating their own little clans or whatever. So that's kind of what they did here, but in a worse level, actually. These groups, because they really just stuck to themselves in general. They did mix with the local Fulani people, is going to tell you, for like 100 years. So, but yeah, this is their story. Story you've never heard. The story they'll never tell you, because it'll rewrite history and it'll debunk their whole out of Africa theories. And then it's going to ask you questioning, who am I? And then when you say, who am I? Then you got to go find out the truth. That's what they don't want. All right, let's go back to Lamine. Lamine, let us know. What's up?
Where did they come from?
Okay.
Because they came in Africa. When we study their story, we don't have trace. They don't have roots or traces in Africa before the time of the coming of the white people.
Okay.
The most ancient traces goes to is first start at the same time when the white men came in Africa.
Yeah, I know. I'm sharing like the rulers from the Caucasians that he's talking about.
Okay,
So you can
exactly. So that's good. So right now, what you're showing is the ruling ethnic group that he's talking about invaded when they came in. The Europeans. These are the European descendants, maybe, or the people. Is that what you're saying? They're the ones that are leaders now.
explain to us who are those people, that who are those all those rulers.
Yes, I'm coming. I'm coming to that.
Okay.
So I want to make it clear that these people, they don't have trace in Africa before the time of the colonization. Before that time, they don't have trace. They don't have background in Africa. They have nothing to prove that they was living in Africa before the time of colonization. You see it now?
Yeah, we can see it now. So go ahead and tell us.
So this palace is the first of the Ashantee people. The Ashantee people, for example, is in the south of Ghana. They are in the south of Ghana and the south of Ivory Coast. But this palace, they built it with the English white men. So they was living together. When you go to Senegal, the so-called Wolof was living with the white men in the coast of Senegal. So the point is, they came together. This is not that the white men came, find them there, then start working with them. No. They came together in Africa. But after they win, they write their own story. But where did they come from? They came from the Ottoman world.
Yeah.
Ottoman world is around Greece, Turkey that was called Asia Minor Asia, Minor Asia, Turkey, Azerbaijan, Ukraine, Iraq, Iran, South Arabia. They was there.
Okay. So some of the Ashantee groups, some of the African groups that are coming in, he's letting you know what? Listen up, like we've been learning about the other ones, right? Coming from Asia Minor, Turkey, he's gonna let us know that was the actual real place that was called Europa, that Asia Minor place in Turkey. That was the actual Europa, not the Western Europe. All right, coming from there, Saudi Arabia, Palestine, Iraq. All right. Listen, how does he know this? He knows this without watching the videos that I have, guys. Like, this is from what his people know about these people, right? And it's correlating with the research we've done. It's matching everything. Listen, you're talking about the Ashantee people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Yes.
So I have some videos on the Shona, on the Hausa people, on the Bantu people coming in from those same areas that you're talking about.
Yes.
The Ottoman, Middle East, India, Turan, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Palestine, all these different areas, Iraq, Iran, coming into Africa. So now you're saying, and we're adding, guys, if you understand what he's saying, also the Ashantee people also can be traced back to these areas. This is what he's saying, guys. So pay attention to what he's saying.
Mm-hmm. The Ashantee people can be traced there very, very scientifically. You can prove it very easily. When you check the religious practice that they have, like the relation with come on, this le vin, wine, huh? Yes. Wine is sacred things to the Ashantee and all the blacks in Africa, all the real black. Because there are one point that I want to say. When we talk about race, not all melanated people are the same race. We are different race.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
We are different race. If you check the definition of the word race, not all melanated people are the same race. In the definition of the term race, there are no there are no concept of color in the definition of the term race.
All right. So basically, guys, he's letting you know all skin folk and kinfolk, all black folks are not the same. These are some of the images I did it with an experiment we had. These are all African people I'm showing, by the way, and these images, all from Africa, right? So this is what I'm saying. This is people they don't ever show you, anyways. But listen to what he's saying, which we already know, right? We can't be generalizing. All black folks ain't the same. All white folks ain't the same. You can't be categorizing billions of people by their complexion or their color or by crayon colors. Okay.
So when you say somebody belong to that race, it's not about the color of skin.
Yeah. Okay.
See the picture?
Yes.
Yes. The one.
So basically, what he was saying, you can kind of tell some of their heritage by their religious practices. Just one example. This doesn't mean this is the ultimate proof, but like the ancient Greeks, he's going to show you the libation of wine that was followed by the Romans and Greeks a lot. That is big amongst these groups, these migrating groups into Africa. They brought those kind of religious cultures, and he's going to let you know what other stuff they brought. Pretty dark stuff, too. You know, you'll see.
Is sacred in their culture, just like it was sacred in the ancient Greece. There was the god named Dionysus, the god of wine. If you live there, you see the phallic god. You know, they have the relation with sexuality.
So then he's gonna get into how, and we already know how, you know, they have the pictures, you know, the Romans and the Greeks have all these sexual acts and the fathers worship and all that, you know, and of course these people brought that with them. Now I know a lot of the Pan-Africans gonna say, yeah, that was an African thing. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. That's what I'm saying. He's telling you, no, we didn't have that. We were here before them. They brought that stuff. They brought that stuff with them. Now watch.
They had homosexuality in Greece, in ancient Greece. All these people have it, but in the inner tribe. They don't display it outside, but inside they have the same practice. And the phallic cult, the cult of the
No, phallus. Yeah, we people.
Yes, phallus. Yes,
penis. Yeah.
Yes, and the way they put their clothes, the way they wear their clothes.
You see the picture?
So you guys see, he's saying, and also just look how they dress. Look at the old drawings of the Greeks, and then the statues and everything. But of course, a Pan-African will tell you, yeah, that's because everything started in Africa. They copying us. You're seeing it in reverse. Again, they've been teaching us history in reverse. Yeah.
In my back, you see the picture here?
The libations of wine, yes. Right? Wine. That's from the Ashantee group.
In my own screen, did you see the picture behind me?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
The way they put their clothes is the same way that that the ancient Greek people has described. In the statue, they have the same practice, the same practice. So the problem is when they come in Africa, since the spirituality that was dominant in Africa was the spirituality of the ancient Egypt. So when they reach in Africa, they cannot display it in Africa. So what they did, they hide it. They hide their spirituality. You see, this one, for example, is the Akan. Is the Akan group. Akan group belong to the Ashantee people. You see this statue, they have a lot of statues like that in their religious practice. It's the same in the ancient Greece.
Yep.
And then Romans. In their own tradition, sometimes they say the truth. For example, the Wolof, they say they come from End. They are still saying it right now. Now.
So he's saying, you know, even sometimes they snitch on themselves. They tell you the truth, where they came from. He's saying the Wolof telling you they came from somewhere else, and he's gonna list the other ones. But we know this. We got that in my videos about the Shona, about the lebu, about the Hausa from the horse's mouth themselves. They tell us that's their migration. They're historians, they're tribal historians, their elders are telling us where they're coming from. So I don't, we don't care what a Pan-African thinks when we hear it from the horse's mouth themselves. That's what he's talking about right now. So the Wolof coming from somewhere.
The Yoruba, they say they come from South Arabia.
The Yoruba are coming from South Arabia, from Yemen. I'm going to show you where. We got a future video on all this. All right.
The Bagirmi, they say they come from South Arabia. The Hausa, they said they come from Baghdad. They have
the Hausa, the Borno, the Kanem Borno Hausa people. They came from Baghdad, Iraq. We proved that. We showed the history. I have a video on that. He's telling you. Listen to what he's saying. He's right. Everything I've heard him say makes sense to me. I do research. He does research. When you're aligned with truth, it brings you to the same conclusions. When you're a part of lies, it's going to just lead you to more lies and dead ends. Yeah, there you go. DJC, he's going to mention that. Yep. He's going to mention the Umayyad. There you go.
Whole story, why did they get out of Baghdad? The Quran, they say they come from Yemen. The Sonenke, they said they come from a place named Dhaka or Dika. But when you check Dhaka is in around Bangladesh. But
so that group coming from Bangladesh, all right, all the way there. We know the lebu came from Hindustan, so okay.
The real black race is who? The real black race is the people that practice the so-called black magic.
You guys hear that? He said the real black people. What if you want to call somebody black? Is the people who practice black magic? What does he mean? Listen.
The so-called voodoo.
Yes, so-called voodoo.
Where they make sacrifice. So they torture animals, and they believe in the power of the low self. They believe in the power of the weakness and the wickedness, because they practice these things in distinct places, and they always lie and torture animals. So they call they invoke the powers of the low self. There are some power in the weakness. They use that power to control people.
So we have a lot of these so-called African people actually coming in from Asia and Europe, and yes, that's something we've been researching, and so you have a lot more in the list. And that's what I knew eventually we would find out. So you're confirming that.
These people are very new in Africa, and the proof is the biggest proof is that they don't even know Africa. They are living in every one of them are living in a small part of Africa. For example, if you take the Yorubas, if you leave Nigeria, there are no more Yoruba. They are only living in Nigeria. If you take for example, the Hausa, if you leave Nigeria in Niger, there are no more Hausa.
Yeah.
If you take the Igbos, if you leave Nigeria, there are no more Igbo. If you take the so-called Bambara, if you leave Mali, there are no more Bambara, because they settle in a very small place, and since there was not too much, there was very few in the beginning. They keep themselves quiet and start blood mixing, breeding with us.
Yeah.
For around 100 years. Right now, since they think they are too much now, they can't fight us. They start the final war now to fight us.
All right. Listen to what he's saying. These people eventually for 100 years started mixing in with the local people that were there a little longer, like his people, the Fula and Fulani people who are spread out throughout Africa. Like they can show their presence in ancient Africa, and they're traveling all around it, not isolated into one little spot, you know, because that's where they landed. These groups that were foreigners, they landed in these little spots and they stayed there. All right, that's what he's talking about. And now these people started mixing with them. They grew in numbers. They multiplied. They're the ruling ethnic groups, and they make war on these people. That's what he's saying. They make war on us. Like, and these wars, guys, in between what he just said and now this image right here, did you see? There was a lot said and shown, a lot of bloody pictures and all that stuff that you guys see coming out of Africa. And this is a lot of the big reasons why these wars are there, guys. So this is a very controversial subject, especially to the people of those ethnic groups. They might be listening right now. And I know a lot of my followers were, oh, I'm half Yoruba, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm from here. Well, hopefully you have an open mind and an open heart to understand what's being shown and said here. And we could just learn from it and heal together and just spread the truth. And maybe we can stop these wars. But it seems like there really is bad people out there that don't want to stop these wars. They don't want no unity. They don't want to share no land that don't even belong to the mainland. Huh, doesn't that sound familiar? Let's go with the brother.
You know, right now they want to take control of the land that they colonized.
You hear that?
Because when they came, there was very few. So
they want the land that they colonized, like I just said.
They take control of the country, but since there was not too much, you see this behind me. You see it? Did you see the picture behind me?
Yes, I see the image.
Okay, you see in that picture, this is the localization. Like I saw you where we are in Africa, we Fulani. We are from here, from the south of Morocco to Congo. You see Congo is here. You can't find us in all these places.
Yeah.
But you see them, they are very localized. They are in one place. That proves that they are not ancient in the land. Because if you was in Ireland, we can't understand. If you are in Ireland, you cannot move. But you cannot say that you are living here in one city for 1,000 years. You never go around to see to have some like branch. You understand?
Yeah.
So these people, when they came, there was not too much. There was very few. They settled in some places. They make war. They cut the lands. They make these countries, and each of them take control of one country. Like the so-called Nar, they call them Moor. They never been no more. This that control Mauritania. They control Mauritania. They have done around 7 putsch in Mauritania. Every time they feel that the power of the country will reach them, they make a putsch to take control back. The Bambara is the same. The Four, you see in Chad, Idris Deby, the last leader dictator that was there, he was put there by the Four. These two are strangers in Africa. But they control the countries through putsch. That's why the war is never finished there.
Yep.
Now, since they breed us too much, they have people now, and they look like us because the two of them are very different of us.
You see what I'm saying? They look like us now. Isn't that so familiar? What happened in the Americas? They look like us. We look like them. But what did Kendrick Lamar say? They not like us. They not like us. They're not like us. And when you're just talking about black and white and crayon colors, when he's saying they not like us, it's deeper than that. And it's as deep as what he's talking about right now. They look like us, but they ain't like us. Because they mixed with his people for 100 years.
But since they breed with us, they take our features. Then they write a false story, teach it in school, because our grand ancestor, they don't trust the first story, but the new generation that
Can you
the school,
Yeah.
you know,
can you
they
talk
obey.
about the fake Mende Empire, the fake
Voila.
Mali Empire that they all talking about, the big Abu Bakari, the Sagan, and all the Sunjata Keita stuff, and the Balafon is the only proof that they have, the only evidence that they have to prove their empire, and there is no vestiges.
This practice right here is the practice that they was doing in ancient Greece. Right now, they are doing the same in Mali and Burkina, sacrificing people to invoke some mystical power. It is the real religion.
All right, guys, hear what he's saying. This is deep right here, and this to me makes this is on my studies and my research where I'm going. You guys are gonna see that. I'm gonna remember what that guy was talking about. How these ancient practices, seem to be not indigenous or from Africa, but European. And this guy was talking about how the ancient Greeks were doing this just to draw the energy and do all this stuff. Well, the people that are the ruling class, this is how they massacre their the other ethnic people when they go to war with them. They don't just murder them. They do stuff like this. They do sacrificial rituals when they're going after his people and massacring them, just like the ancient Greeks and all these people used to do.
We are in the end of the process. They came from the Middle East, or the Caucasus. They came from there, settled in Africa, make war.
So they came from the Middle East or the Caucasus, right? He's saying
to colonize Africa, then start colonization at 1960. 1960, that they call independence, was the beginning of the colonization. Really, was the real beginning of the colonization. 1960.
Recent.
So now what they are doing is to take control of the land, because when you colonize an area, you have the authority of the administration things. Everybody had to pass through you to have like ID card, something like that. You can you have authority over the law to take control of the people. The problem is there. So right now, the war that they are doing is to take control of the land. It is the continuity of what they start in the 18th century, in the 19th century. That's a part of their lies. They call Africa, but
all right. So we got another naysayer. That's what's up. Okay, that's what's up. This is what we're gonna do for him. Hey, House of St. Nicholas, check this out. You got homework. He said, where is his sources? Again, we are having a discussion. Me and him were having a private discussion, and I was like, yo, let me record this. Why? Because I know it's true. So I'm gonna put a link here, right? This link is this playlist. It's called Africans Not From Africa. So you got 3 videos to watch, right? About 3-4 hours of research about the Shona, about the Bantu people, the Hausa, Karna, and Borno people, the Lebu people. And you're going to hear it from the horse's mouth and the research, the sources that you're asking for, okay? The sources that you want, sources, right? But you believe out of Africa theories without no sources, right? But you believe out of Africa theories without no sources, but you believe all Europeans were pale skinned and so-called white without no sources, right? Oh, we got sources for you. The link is in the chat. You got homework. Now don't interrupt again with your where's his sources again. We got over 8 years of research going on here. Over a thousand presentations. Catch up. Now, what he's talking about here is very deep, guys. He's talking about the word Cain and how it relates to Cain, and Cain means black in his language. Cain, that means black. Caucasus or that means black in his language. Pay attention. You're not from the Fulani. Have some humility.
at first, we have to understand that this is written in the Bible. They talk about Cain and Abel. Cain mean Cain. If you go in the Arabic language, we say Cain. Cain is the Fulani word. The Fulani language was speak in Europe and in the Middle East before, because even we Fulanis, our language, we believe that it was given to us, that it is a language of the ancient people. But right now, when we check in the Middle East, we have proof that the Fulani language was speak in the Middle East and even in Europe. So Kain, we call them Kabe. We call them Kain. Not the Ka of the ancient Egypt. Ka is something that you dislike. Or we call them Alebe. The term Alebe is translated by black or noir in French. But the term Alebe is deeper than that. When you take the term white, in French we say blanc. But the term blanc, we say the term white in French we say blanc. So they call the white man, they call him pale face. Pale face. In French we say pale. But the term pale, the origin of that term is a Fulani word. It come from pale. It comes from through the Latin word pale.
All right, what he's trying to break down, guys, if you're not paying attention, he's breaking down the word pale, and a lot of these languages actually means black. Watch, not light skin, and not white, like how we think of white today or the way pale is used. He's gonna break it down. It was more like a gray, like lead metal. So, meaning, how do you have to do to get gray? You have to grab black, right, and grab some white, not all of it, right, and you mix it and it becomes grayish, right? That's the reference. Listen.
Palela is from Fulani word Pale. Pale is the name that we used to call them, and the term Pale at the first was not identifying the color of the skin. It is because of they are lifeless. They are lifeless. They are just like some people that have no life in them.
That's deep right there. He said because they were lifeless. It wasn't about the color. Pale, they're lifeless, soulless. Soulless people, lifeless people. They don't got that pure life, that pure water.
And the term Bale, it have the same root with the term plomb. And in English, how we say plomb?
You say lead. A type of metal that we call lead.
Okay, in French we say plomb, but the term plomb have the same root with the term pale. Pale when we say pale face. So but the plomb is gray. Is like dark, black color. So that means what? The term pale was applied to black people at the beginning, not the white skin that we see today. The term pal came from the Fulani word pale. It was applied to them, but they invest the narrative. So right now,
when you say applied to them, you mean Black Caucasians?
Yes, because
okay.
So what I'm showing you guys here, this is from an old Encyclopedia Britannica. They had Caucasian depicted as a Negro person in their old Britannicas. They've brought this out of public. You have to really go look for it. It's in one of those old volumes from like 18 hundreds early to like 18, probably 70s, you know, in between there and one of those numerous volumes they got. All right, but some people were able to scan it. A lot of people were able to scan it. It still exists out there. Getting the actual physical one is something you got to do boots on the ground. You know, they probably won't, but this is from the Encyclopedia Britannica. All right.
Caucasus, in the Caucasus is the land between this the ocean, the Mare Caspian,
Caspian
Caspian Sea, the Caspian Sea and the Black Sea. You know, we Fulanis we call them Khabe. Caspian come from the word Khabeeng. You see the Caspian Sea. What I'm saying right now maybe looks strange, but if you check it, you will see that there are no real definition of these terms. But in our language, it's very clear. The Caspian Sea mean the Sea of Habeeng. Habeeng is the name, and the Habela is the name of Cain in the Bible.
All right, he's saying from Cain, and I'm just gonna read what Naughty Top says in the chat. He says Kawa or Kawa is crow, and Kala is color black in Hindi. They're from sons. Okay, so there you go. We know Kara. Kara means black too. Kara. Caucasian don't mean white. All right, it comes from the same root thing as black. You guys understand what he's trying to break down? That's why the Black Sea is there too. All right, listen.
Cain. When you say Cain, and in the Arabic language, it means it is said Habil. Habil. So the Black Sea in Pular in our language we say Bale. Bale. So meaning the Black Sea. So this is the people that start between two seas. The Sea of Caspian Sea and the Sea of Black Sea. It is the beginning of the problem there.
Wow.
So some of the melanated people that was in Europe come from there, according to the story, 4,000 years ago.
All right. This just kind of reminds me of something, guys. Hold on. All right. The Caucasus, huh? Who's the real people in charge? All right. And why did he do this? What's the real reason behind this? Because the Pope don't kiss nobody. They kiss him. Everybody goes and kisses the Pope. Like he's supposed to be the vicar of Christ, right? Or the representative of Jesus in the earth. So people supposed to go kiss his feet and kiss him. He never, there's no Pope. You ever seen a Pope do this with nobody? But here he is kissing some of these African leaders. Same people that our boy Lamine are talking about. Are ethnic groups that came into Africa, guys. All right. Caucasus, huh? From the Caucasus, the Black Mountains. Black Mountains. Yeah. The queen. Yeah, get the queen too. Imperial queen. You gotta get her. Yeah. Get up, man. You're old, man. You can break your knee, man. You better recognize. The Pope knows what's up. They know what's up.
Because the problem starts right there. The problem starts right there. They start war against us right there. But in the 19th century, meaning 18 around the 1850 something like that, they start war in Africa against us. The people that come to fight us, there was black, there was not white. But when they overcome, they change the narrative.
Okay, the people that came to fight us were not white; they were black, so-called black.
So they set up stories, false stories, to have background in Africa, like.
And then he's letting you know what did they do when they invaded, came, they made war, they colonized. Then they created. When they won, they wrote the history. They created false narratives so they can have a background or roots in Africa. They created all these like almost like legacies and myth, like the ancient Greeks, right? Like how they stole things from the Americas. So they're creating this fake history. Very familiar, almost the same like in the colonization of America, how the winners wrote the history, right? And then they started calling you savages and Mongols and all this other stuff.
The story of Mali Empire, Congo Kingdom, and a lot of Mosi Kingdom, Hausa Kingdom.
All right, so the Mali Empire, the Congo Empire, the Hausa Kingdom. Okay, listen, all of them.
All of this is lies, because they have no proof. There are no artifacts to prove that the Mali Empire never been exist in Africa. That's a big lie.
The Mali Empire never existed in ancient Africa. It's a big lie.
Because till today, officially they don't find the capital of the Mali Empire. They have no artifact to prove that this empire never exists.
No archaeology, no proof, no artifacts.
The only proof for that empire is the sayings of the people that they call griot, the people that are considered having the story of the ethnic group in Africa. So there are no scientific proof that the Mali Empire never exists. All of these things, it is the thing that they set up to prove themselves in Africa to have roots. Because right now they talk about a lot. They talk a lot. You see, for example, in 1890 there was in a big war against us, colonizing Africa. This soldier was not for Europe or in the World War. This soldier is the one that fight in Africa to colonize. And the ethnic group that is controlling every country in Africa right now is from the same people that was in the armies to colonize Africa.
All right. The same people that are ruling ethnic groups today are the ones left over from the descendants of the soldiers that colonized and everything and made war with the locals. Okay, look, this just happened. And they're showing you that's a French soldier right there. Right? Or is that a Moor?
Europe in the story, Europe was the place that was called Europe is only that place.
Okay.
Between Greece and Turkey. The first place called Europe was there.
All right, he's saying when it comes to in ancient times, if anybody was talking about Europe, they meant Asia Minor or that little strip of Turkey, that land that connects the Middle East with Western Europe, which is Turkey today, most of Turkey. That was what Europe was, not Western Europe, not anywhere else in the world. And then he's going to tell you about where Africa and what that means too. All right. So Europe was right there. Europa, Middle East, Yoruba.
So this so-called Western Europe right now today was not Europe.
So like that was Turkey.
And Africa referred to a Roman goddess. A Roman goddess.
Goddess.
A goddess. African mean the people that believe in that goddess.
Okay. He said Africa in reality. All right, let's go to this. We're gonna do it ourselves so you can see what he's talking about. In reality, Africa is the people who were the followers of the goddess Africa. That's from Europe. That was a European Roman goddess. Okay? Africa, goddess of fertility and fortune. Fertility. That's going to link her up to all the other deities, and eventually it's going to link her up to Thoth. You're going to see him say it. I can't make this up. Okay? So the goddess Africa. All right, Romans. This is a Roman. Remember that Africa was just a little province or a little colony of the Romans in Tunisia. There was a little colony called Africa in Tunisia, and the followers, and that's where the stronghold was of these goddess, right there. And the followers of this goddess were the so-called Africans, because they were followers of Africa, so they were Africans. Okay, it dealt with a religious group, like saying Muslims because they follow Islam, or they follow, so Africa was in reference to a specific religious group of the goddess Africa that the Romans introduced into the continent of Africa. And eventually that name became the name for the whole continent, right? We know this already, right? We knew about the little colony in Tunisia, right? And there she goes, right? Mosaic of goddess of Africa.
And that goddess is the same with Baphomet, the Baphomet god.
Baphomet, yes.
Baphomet.
I have the pictures that you sent me.
So, okay. The goddess Africa, he's saying it's the same as Baphomet. What people call him Baphomet, it's the same deity. Again, that's good. Watch all the connections he's about to do. Okay, listen up. About to get a cult. All you cult people who like this kind of talk. Let's go.
Yes.
Wow. You see, man, behind me, you can't see it. You see this Baphomet, he have two horn or corn. So Baphomet, this is the a picture of the
corn on the horn.
Horn, yes. It is a picture. It is a representation of the goddess Africa. You see, she had these two horns, and the problem is Baphomet and Jesus is the same, in fact.
Jesus.
But they turn it.
All right, he said it. Baphomet and Jesus. All right. So, hey, this goes back to my research with Thoth, right? Hermetics. All right. Let's get that drop if you haven't got it.
They inverse the aim of Jesus. Baphomet is Baal. The god Baal is Baphomet, and the god Baal is Thor, the Scandinavian god. Thor is Baal, and Thor is Thoth.
Ha!
Baal is Thoth, Jesus is Thoth.
Everybody's thought, like I told you. Come on now, we can't make this up. The hijack of hijacks. Thoth, man. Follow the bird. Serapis, there you go. Serapis. Ingengency, man. We're not here for you, man. You're like 8 years late, man. I'll give you a chance, man. Come back, catch up. We're not here for your emotional stuff. Okay. You'll come around. For now, just listen.
Why did they manufacture Baphomet? Baphomet has been manufactured around the 19th century.
So he's saying Baphomet is the same as Baal, the same as Jesus, because guys, we've already gone over this, right? It's nothing new for us here. This is what I'm saying. We're not here to debate what he's saying. I'm just showing you he's coming from a whole other perspective, a whole other side, and he concluded the same truth that we have here on our channel with the research. That's what we're saying. We're not here to try to prove anything anybody in the chat that might be from these ethnic groups and they're a little hurt right now. I can tell, Egency, I can tell. Okay, so just chill. So listen, all right, which is Thor of the Scandinavians, you're saying, same as Thor, which is the same as Thoth. Okay?
The 19th century, they invent this Baphomet. They invent it. Why did they do that? Because they was willing to hide the true this spirituality. You see, the people that is controlling the world right now, they use a book that called Cabal. Cabal, la Cabal, the Cabal. Cabal in Fulani word means Shebal, or what is in the Baal teaching.
Cabal, right? Ka. There you go again with Ka. The cabal, right? Dark. It means black, right? Dark, black, cabal, Ka, Caucasian, Caucas, Caucas, Kaka, double black, Caucasus, Caucasian.
But they want to they want to make people look to move away people from looking the power teaching of the ancient world, because it's the same God. When you say Baal, Jesus, Thor, and Thoth, that's the same God. It is the Smith God, Smith, the forgeron, Smith God. Thor is a Smith God. Thor was the god of the Viking. The Viking was melanated people. When they was persecuted in Europe, in Ireland. And
all right, the Vikings were melanated people. Listen, this guy knows his stuff. The Vikings were black folks. They ended up in Ireland. Listen,
and Sweden, and in England, and Ecos, they moved to America. But these people, they hide this move with the invention of the triangular slave trade.
He said, how did they hide all these mass migrations of these black Europeans of history? They invented the West African slave trade to hide that, the triangle. That's how they, and guys, this is nothing new. We've been saying that. We've debunked the out of Africa theories. We've exposed the West African slave trade to America. And I know a lot of people probably new here in my channel, and they're like, what's he talking about? No, you didn't. Stop it. Because they haven't seen the research. I got a whole playlist called The Real Slave Trade. Go check it out. All right. He just told you the exact same thing that we have proved. All right. So when he's talking, saying all these things, you should try to listen and verify. Verify everything he's saying. You're going to see he's very close to the truth you can find. That we have research too. I can verify a lot of it that he's saying. We have verified a lot of it. That's the thing. And a lot of you longtime followers know exactly what I'm talking about right now.
Because the melanated people in Europe moved to America when they was persecuted in Europe. The so-called Viking was the melanated people. When they moved through the Caribbean. And if you check the peak of the corsair and pirate, the piratery activity in the Caribbean is right after the beginning of the coming of the people that was in Ireland, in the Caribbean, because it was their activity. It was a people that was used to go through navigation to make war. So when they had been fighting Europe, they moved to America. That's why you find the name like Barry, you find it in America. This name does not go there through slave trade. No, it was the people that persecuted in Europe that they went back, because the Viking was in relation with America. I want to, I want to continue that point to be clear, because when they fight the people here, the spiritual aspect of this war is very important. They set.
Okay, this is something important right here. Right, let's go back to what he's saying. About to change the subject, but he's related to what he was saying. He was making a point with all this Baal and Jesus. Why is he talking about this? There's a spiritual warfare really going on when it comes to these ethnic warfares in Africa, right? And the ruling, the people who kind of always win and massacre the rest, they kind of using this very dark energy being brought. The same things you find in these ancient cultures, this, hermetics, this what becomes voodoo, black magic, all that stuff. All right, we're gonna break it down. Listen to what he's saying.
They set up Baphomet in America. They set up this Baphomet in America. This one, they set up Baphomet in America to hide the fact that in Europe, Thor is Baal. Baal was the god in the Middle East, and Thoth in the so-called ancient Egypt was the same god. There was the real alchemist, the people that work with fire. This, just like you have Will Smith in USA. It is Smith, but the real alchemist was a Smith. But the real Smith was a singer. That's why you see that singing phenomena in America is very big, because some of the people that moved from Europe to America was under the Baal god, and Baal was the first of El or Ilu or An, the Anunnaki god. An is Allah. It's the same god.
An, Allah, he's saying, and then what? Anunnaki, and then what? Anu, right? Anu, Nuwabian, Nuwabianism.
An, El is Allah. Is the same god. So these people, since they want to hide this spiritual aspect, they develop this concept of Baal or of Baphomet.
Okay. Yeah, so what I was saying from my research, a lot of people like to say, oh, voodoo's indigenous, voodoo's and that. I saw it coming from Europe, like you're saying. I saw that coming from Europe. It was funny to me that wherever you see voodoo, you do see some French, so-called French influence. All right, so it's like they, a lot of them split it. When you understand the Knights Templar, right? The Knights Templar secret society, they were supposed to have worship in Baphomet, but it was really Mahomet. And what you're saying right now about An and Allah, it kind of makes sense. That Baphomet, Mahomet, and there was a lot of crypto Muslims in the French Templars. These were crypto Muslim people bringing their alchemy.
You see, for example, when you say carnival.
All right, guys. Okay, this is we're going into future videos here. This discussion right here, okay, is something I'm gonna work on. I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about here. But he's literally telling you, he's literally trying to break it down for you, and I understood exactly what he was trying to break down to me at the moment. And maybe he didn't know the whole Baphomet or Mahomet part, but there was a lot of crypto Muslims. Listen, guys, pay attention. There was a lot of crypto Muslims in the Knights Templars. They were practicing their whole alchemy, Islam, right? He's going to talk about the modern one right now. And so that's why if you're a Catholic or Christian, to you, anything Islam or Muslim is heretic, is the devil, is so, okay, that's where there's a whole truth to what I was just saying right there. And maybe he don't know about that part, but maybe he does. But everything he's saying, it making sense to me, right? So where's this whole practice of black magic really? I mean, I know indigenous people, we had religious practices, but that whole dark part and everything seemed to have been following a certain other people, not just the Indians, right? And so these Knight Templars headquarters was in France. All right, so wherever you see voodoo, these black, you see a lot of influence from French colonial times. And I got a future video. I'm going to show you that the mother of voodoo from America, right? Forget her name right now, but I got her genealogy and everything. She's not from Africa. She's not even African. She's very French. She's very, very, very French and Indian. Not African. Okay, so now listen to this. He's going to talk about carnival. This is a whole other thing, because I know a lot of you might get in your feelings when it comes to this stuff, because you want to make everything indigenous to America and everything. Maybe in some point in history before it went out and got crazier and crazier and then came back. But that's what reason we fell off, guys. We're supposed to have a natural law, right? Like, we're supposed to keep the code. We ain't supposed to be doing all this other stuff. messing around with certain things and powers. You gotta listen to your ultimate power. There's no power above the power. All right. So that's just a whole other subject. But what I'm trying to say is that's these influences, like the carnival, like he's gonna tell you, it comes from the same thing. It comes from the exact same thing.
Carnival, the carnival culture come back to Europe from the Caribbean people.
Yes.
Like in England, it is the Jamaican that brought it back in the Caribbean in England. You see, but the carnival mean carnival.
Festival.
Carnival.
You know the Notting Hill Festival?
Yes. Carnival mean carnival. Mean the flesh of Baal.
Yes.
But it is because some Caribbean, some, I don't, not all, because there was the Indian people, the Kalinago or something like that, but some people was the black from Irish black people, from England black people, from Sweden black people, ecosis. So this culture of carnival was with them. They go there with that. Then after around the 90 after the Second World War, they come back to Europe and brought that culture back to Europe.
So as you guys see from the image here, carnaval, in Spanish that would say meat for Baal, or flesh, or sacrifice to Baal. Carnaval, the flesh, right? You see how it's very sexual, the carnivals, and you see they have the peacock, a lot of the peacock and feathers, and I know the ancient people had things like that, but a lot of it is the symbology of the Taf, the peacock. It's the same thing when it goes back to Taf, Mardi Gras, all that. Yes, guys. And I know a lot of you like, nah, that's us. Well, yeah, maybe it is you. Yeah, a lot of your ancestors. Yeah, that's us. I was gonna do eventually videos on this and talk about this, about carnival celebrations and voodoo and all that, and as European ancient influence, this Baal worship and all that, Thoth, Hermetic, all that alchemy, bringing it all there, carnal stuff. I mean, just the word carnaval, carnal, meat, body, flesh, Baal. Wow. And it matches with the ancient scriptures in the Bible, when they say that the Romans or Greeks made the Israelites by force participate in the carnivals and the processions of their god Dionysus, Bacchus, which is the same Thoth, Baal, is the same thing you're talking about right now. I'm looking at it right now in your image. So interesting that you are pointing this out and confirming this, guys. I want you guys to pay attention, because this is what I've been hinting at a lot in my videos when I say that, where's voodoo really from, and all this carnivals and all that. So go ahead and continue. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Then you see the people that come colonize us, like this king is the king of an ethnic group called Efik in Africa. Efik, king of Calabar. In 1895, in the midst of the wars, colonized Africa. How the hell he got this Kuron? How we say it?
Crown.
The crown.
Crown bigger than the Queen of England.
He has the same crown on, no?
But bigger. This one is bigger than that one. And
so,
the crown of the Queen of England, they recognize that he has changed.
All right, you guys see that? Look at the guy's crown. He's gonna tell you who that is. That's a king from the Congo region. Look at his is bigger than hers, decked out with the same rubies. It's the same lineage. Watch.
Because when she was entronized, they said they had to work on the crown, because she's a female. The crown was too heavy. You understand? But this guy here, who is the king of Calabar. Calabar is a state down to Nigeria. He have a bigger crown than the queen of England.
Yes. So
This guy was not colonized. You cannot tell me that this guy was colonized. And these people.
So he's saying this guy wasn't colonized. You can't tell me this guy was colonized. This was the colonizer. He's trying to explain something.
They say in their own story they come from Palestine.
And he said in their own story, they say they came from the Middle East. So Palestine might have been the entry point. Not necessarily mean that they were specifically from Palestine. They could have been, but they might have been coming from any other part of Asia, just going through in the migration, coming in through Palestine. Like a lot of these West African people, they only want to admit that they want to start off the history of the migration in Palestine. Oh, we're the holy people. We're from the Holy Land. That's not even your. We already know that's not the true Holy Land, right? So this is where a lot of them get in there. Oh, we're the Jews and stuff, and also from mixing with the Sephardic Jews that went, the Portuguese, the same people that these people are dealing with and connecting with and doing business with to marginalize the other people. But anyways, this is what he's saying. These people are not colonized. They are the colonizers. Look at this guy with his suit and stuff, a top hat. Yeah. Marriage Duke. All right, Duke. I'm going to leave this because I'm going to mention it, but I want anybody to see what I'm talking about. Who's the Dukes in the Bible? Who's the Dukes in the Bible? Because I'm about to show you something. Who's the Dukes in the Bible? We're talking about Bible stuff, right? Biblical makes sense now, right? Who's the Dukes in the Bible?
You see, these people, these people in their own story, they recognize the fact. But right now, the problem that we have, the younger generation, after the teaching of Sheikh Anta Diop, every people want to have roots in Africa, but in their own tradition, they had been always said that they come from Middle East, sometime Asia, Turkey. Sometimes they say they come from Ukraine. They always had been said that.
So even though many people wants to put deep roots, ancestrals in Africa, he's saying all these people, they have told numerous times their real story, that they were coming from Turkey, that they were coming from Asia Minor, to Palestine, even Ukraine. He said, even Ukraine, they've mentioned Ukraine.
Problem is the new generation. The new generation, knowing the consequences, the strategic consequences, the younger generation want to have roots in Africa. So they start saying we are all from Egypt. That is lie. Because the dogs was sacred in Egypt. The cat was sacred in Egypt. The snake was sacred in Egypt. The cow was sacred in Egypt. But these people, they eat dogs. They use them to make voodoo things, voodoo sacrifices. They eat snakes, they eat cats, they eat human flesh. So that meaning their spirituality is very opposite to ancient Egypt.
All right. Right here, while he was talking, I was looking through the pictures of this guy. Look at right here, guys. Look how he's dressed up. Look, he has a zephyr. He's holding that little ball. He looks just like the Moorish paintings of Europe. He looks just like the so-called, what is it, the Black Magi? They try to say it's Maurice, Saint Maurice. Look at him dressing like Saint Maurice. It must be Halloween. It must be Halloween where he's from. Dressing like Saint Maurice. Yeah, right. That's what they dress like. That's what he dressed like, because his ancestors from Europe dressed like that. His own peoples have mentioned coming from Ukraine. Listen, from Turkey, Asia Minor. Look what he's dressed like, guys. They did a whole flip of history on us. We're talking about resets. You guys are into that whole reset, mud flood, old world, all that stuff. You're into it. Then if you're into that, then this should be easy for you to understand. This was one of the resets. This is what they did during the resets. They whitewashed history. They hit certain people that invaded certain people and took over their identity, and talking about all over the world, not just in Americas. You see, it happened in Africa. He's like, yeah, I'm living good. Yeah, I'm the king. I'm the king of the dukes. King Duke of Calamar.
You see? They come from the ancient Greek words that become the Ottoman world. It is the same people that fight the spirituality of Jesus. The Roman Empire, the Byzantine Empire, Orient Byzantine Empire that fight Jesus. It is that empire that become, after Muhammad came, they become the Umayyad Empire. The Umayyad Empire was against the first Muslim. Then, after they changed their name, they become the Abbasid Empire. After they become the Ottoman Empire, it is the same people
Same
in the
people.
same place. The Islam, the true Islam, come from Africa to the Caucasus, to the Turkey that you see today, and around the Caucasus, Armenia, Georgia. But the people that overcome Islam is from the Caucasus. Then they write the so-called Hadith books to set up a new Islam. The Islam that is practiced now in the world is not the real Islam.
Listen.
Just like the Christianity that is practiced now is not the true teaching of Jesus. Because after Jesus died, they invent stories. They invent holy people. So they put words in their mouth to manufacture what they call Christianity today. Just like the Jews, they write the books that they call Talmud. The Talmud is not from Moses, not from the real follower of Moses.
All right. The Talmud has nothing to do with Moses. All right. We know that. That's the Chazars.
Yeah. They set up a book to make a new version of the religion. So the Islam that we are using today is the Ottoman religion, but it is the same people that fight Muhammad, that had fight in the past Jesus. Islam come from Africa and try to correct these people. Because Muhammad was backed by the people of Habasha. Habasha was Ethiopia. But the people of Ethiopia, their king was Muslim. So, if you check it clearly, it shows you that the move of Islam come from the so-called ancient Egypt to the Caucasus. But the people that write the books that they call Hadith, upon which the new vision of Islam today is on, like the Salafis, the Wahhabis, the Shiis, all this philosophy is backed by the books that they call Hadith. All the writers of Hadith was not from the Saudi Arabia, not even an Arabs. There was Turkish people. The biggest writer of Hadith was named Bukhari. Bukhari was from Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan is in the Caucasus. All the writer of Hadith was from the Ottoman world.
A lot of this influence, right, coming out of Africa, but originally it was from these people that are settling in, you're saying, from these ancient places of Asia and Europe. Like this guy behind you, that you have in the image. I'm showing everybody right now. Are you saying? Yeah, so his people brought that influence. Is that what you're saying, or?
Yes, that's the same people. It's the same people. He was in Palestine.
Okay, and you know, I'm looking. I don't know if you see my screen. Have you seen what I'm sharing? I'm showing the Wikipedia page, and
I'll see.
Yeah, so he says Odo Edem Odo. What does that mean? Do you know what that means?
No, I don't know what it is. His own name.
Okay.
His own personal name. His name Oroko Eden.
Okay, I want you guys to pay attention right now. Big one, right? He said, I asked him, do you know what his name means? Because I see something in his name. He's like, no, but it's something to do with his ancestral name. He said, it's something to do with his ancestral name. Edem It's his ancestral name. That's literally his last name.
I just find it interesting that he's called the Duke, right? You put his name as Duke of Calabar, and again in the scriptures, the Dukes are the Edomites, right? They're your Dukes, right? And so Edomites, right? And then I see his name Edom, Orok Edom.
Yes, Edom, yes.
Yeah, very similar to Edom, Edomite, Edomians, so-called Romans, so-called Hellenic people, Hellenized Romans people. So I see a connection there somehow because he's being called the Duke, King of Calabar.
You see the story that you see in the Bible is the story with the story of the Roman Empire is the same. It's the same. Just like in the Bible, the story starts by Cain and Abel. In the Roman Empire, the story starts by Romulus and Romulus.
So in this Bible verse tells you, and these are the names of the dukes that came of Esau. Your dukes are Edomites, guys. All you dukes and duke of this, the duke of that, the duke of this, the king duke of Calabar, him. And he even got Edom in his name. I can't make this up, guys. I cannot make this up.
You see, it is the same story. You know, they manufacture a whole story to hide the true story of things, to hide themselves, and then they put everything on the so-called white people. You see, like they are the.
He said, then they blamed the white people. He said, then there was all them, and then they blamed the so-called white people. Listen, they're the scapegoats now.
They are the enemy of all humanity. But when you check it closer, you find that the real enemy is not the one that they are presenting you.
Yeah. So
the real enemy is not the one they presenting to you. Listen, because we got Odo, Edom, Odo, King Duke. He's a Duke. Edom, Duke, colonizer of Africa, most likely coming from Ukraine, Turkey, Asia Minor, his people. He was not a colonized, he was a colonizer. He was royal. And they knew that, and that's why he kept his royalty when he was in, his people in Africa. King Duke the Ninth, King of the Dukes, King Duke Edom. Yeah. You guys got to understand, for a lot of you coming out of the whole Pan-African brainwashing, right? I know they told you that Esau is a white man, but you got to understand Esau is Jacob's twin brother, same parents, twin brother. How is he a different nation? He may look a little different than his brother, but they're the same. Eventually, the Esau's son Edom, who the Edomites come from, his people, did mix with everybody, not just white folks. A lot of them stayed black. And that's what I'm showing you right here.
King Duke, Edom, okay. I connect a lot of stuff when you're talking, so I'm like, okay. And I see why people are invading other people and influence and doing what they did in ancient
times. You see this, for example, this king behind me is the king of the Mosi people. The Mosi people are the people that are fighting against us right now in Burkina Faso. The killing that you saw before is done by this ethnic group. The king in 1895, you see, he have all the medal. How do you say it? Medal of war. Meaning what? Meaning this is the one that was fighting against us.
All right. So he's saying this guy right here from 1895, the king of the Mosi people. The Mosi people are the same people he's saying also came in as foreigners. And what he's saying is they are warring with his people, the Fulani. They have ethnic cleansing wars, and they do that. And he showed me pictures of modern day today of what the Mosi are doing to his people today. Very graphic, very horrific pictures. I'm talking about women, children, slaughtered, guys. Right?
And so he's saying, look at the medals on him. Look at all the merits, all the medal soldier, the war medals he got on. That's from killing his people when they invaded in the 1890s. Look at the scars he got on his face and everything. Yeah.
In 1895.
Please, Lamine,
Yeah.
give us some knowledge about the Bantu people.
He's gonna not talk a little bit about the Bantu. He's letting you know little by little. We're gonna get more specific as we go. We know the Shona are supposed to be a Bantu people, but listen to what he's telling you about Bantu. Bantu is not really. It doesn't mean anything. Listen, Bantu was the name given to a people by a German in the 1800s. Okay, just like he's gonna tell you all these other names, like what's the other one? Manda. No, he's gonna mention them. Well, let's go.
Yes.
The Bantu people, the name Bantu has been put, has been given to them by a white man called Emmanuel Black in 1959. In 1859, Emmanuel Black gave them the name Bantu, and he put under the name Bantu around between 400 to 600 ethnic little ethnic groups. Around between 400 to 600. Why
Now he's saying this name was created, it was made up by this German guy. He just started calling 400 to 600 different ethnic groups, different peoples. He just started calling them all Bantus. And these people, obviously, some of them may not even be related to each other. But again, all those people came into Africa. Again, in the South Africa and all that, we know that the Khoisan and a lot of his people, the Fulani, were there a little longer.
say between 400 to 600? Because nobody knows. So when you say Bantu, that means nothing. Because even them that call themselves Bantu, they don't know who is really Bantu. Nobody knows.
Wilhelm Bleek. Well, Wilhelm Bleek.
Wilhelm Blake, yes. 1859.
It's very, very recent.
The name Igbo has been set up at the same period around 1860. All these names, the name Monday has been given in 1854.
So the name Monday, listen, the name Monday is also a creation from the 1800s. That's not an ancient people of Africa. That didn't exist there. Monday, listen.
By somebody, by a Netherlands guy that is called
Netherlands.
Yeah,
Netherlands.
Yes. Sigismund Wilhelm Kohl. Sigismund Wilhelm Kohl.
So he's saying I think he's saying Sigmund Wilhelm Kohl, something like that, from the Netherlands, from Holland, created the word Monday to describe a people. Listen. Now also, look at this. Well, I was just looking, right? And I know the white folks probably going to get mad at me. The white folks are going to get mad at me for this. I don't know if this is related, but look, there's a Monday surname, Monday, right? Talking about all the way from the Middle Ages. We know that a lot of these people weren't there in the Middle Ages. It's just starting to arrive, and then by 1800s, they're there. Could they be related to this Monday from Europe, England, Scotland, huh? Saxons, huh? Monday. Could they be? I'm just saying. But again, the name he's saying was given to these people by a Dutch person in the 1800s, 1850s, Monday. So he's going to give some more names.
And ethno-linguist, Netherlands, yes.
Netherlands.
Yes.
From Netherlands.
Yes.
All right, from Holland.
So all these names has been created when they make the war to colonize Africa. They create names for themselves, because when they come there was not too much, but after breeding, mixing with us, 100 of mixing with us, Now they have been they assimilated. They take with them too much people now. But at the beginning there was not too much. There were soldiers. This has military unity. It is soldiers that come to colonize Africa. But when they settle in Africa, they create these ethnic groups.
Among the Bantu people.
So they came into Africa, guys, and they created these ethnic groups. Listen.
People, you are trying to say that Bantu people is not a people.
Yes, because just like when you say Monday, when you say when you say Monday, when you say Igbo, when you say Yoruba.
When you say Igbo, when you say Yoruba, listen, he's just telling you, breaking it down, man. It's like kind of like generalizations and try to give them these very ancient roots in Africa. But listen,
all of this is concept that had been developed to take control of the land. You see, but they don't have history. When you see, for example,
basically you're saying that they were not in that part of the world just 200 years ago.
They don't, if the Bantu don't have any trust before the 19th century in these places.
Like a lot of the groups you've named, you know, based on the sources and the anthropology and the migration patterns and the oral legends and all that, you know, I'm gonna let him know that, you know, I gotta correct him a little bit, you know, because we did do the research and we do see some migrations from the Middle Ages, people coming in, you know, and but I believe, like what he's saying is the mass of them came by that 1700s, 1800s, very, very, very recent. Okay, so right here I'm gonna break it down to what I have been able to research. Okay, we were able to put together. We do see that a lot of these people, for example, I'm showing an image of my video from the Shona people, who's supposed to be Bantu. You're talking about Bantu people, but their origin, according to their own people and legends and sources and migrations, they're coming from Persia, right? They're coming from Persia, ended up in Zimbabwe. The latest, any of these groups that you mentioned a lot, I know you're saying 1800s, but what I've been able to see is that most of these people, the latest or the earliest they've been in Africa is the Middle Ages, not ancient. These are not ancient people from Africa, and it was different migrations. It was different waves coming in from the areas you're talking about in different times. So maybe, yeah, in the 1800s it was the last major wave, but there was these kind of people kind of settling in, coming in from the Middle Ages, not ancient times. There was other people in Africa, like you're saying. And so the Bantu, it's interesting what you're saying about the name. It makes sense to me. It makes sense to me because, you know, like, so one group is the Shona, right? Then there's other groups. Who are these people specifically? They're not even all related. Like, you know, everybody's calling themselves Bantu, but they might be coming from different parts of Asia, different parts of lower Asia Minor, you know, like what you're saying. All right. I just wanted to, so people can understand you know, what he's saying. A lot of groups are coming in. They're not ancient from Africa, guys. You guys understand? Like, this is a lot of people, a lot of so-called ethnic groups or nations of Africa came the earliest Middle Ages, but a lot of them, he's saying, hey, you got to hear 1700s, 1800s, they're just coming into the country. All right.
The people that colonized Africa was in fact the blacks, not the whites. These people, after colonizing Africa, they invent this kingdom like Mali Empire, Congo Kingdom. Congo Kingdom have no roots at all. If you check it in internet, you will see nothing, even a small home that can be a proof of that kingdom. Yes, they have only one place that they show people that ask for proof. When you ask them the trace of the Congo Kingdom, they show you this one. They say it is their own capital.
So what he's talking about here, just so he's talking about the Congo Kingdom. You know, he's giving a lot of examples, but this is one of the things that the Congo people try to say. Well, look, no, we've been here. This is us right here. We built it in ancient times. This archaeological fort, whatever, this palace here, whatever. He's gonna let you know that was actually built by the Portuguese, and then I'm gonna corroborate with a little sign.
Capital, huh? But this place has been built by people that from Portuguese.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Portuguese was the first that come there.
Yeah.
Because then this place was not even known. He was rediscovered in 1960, I think 1963, because he was even forgotten. You know.
Okay.
So this place was not built by Congolese people. It was built by Portuguese people.
Okay.
So there are no trace of Congo Kingdom at all.
Okay. I want to add to that because it's interesting that you're showing this place. I'm showing the Wikipedia real quick, and it's confirming what you're saying. Mambansan Congo, known as South Salvador in Portuguese, from 1570, that's not ancient, to 1976. It's the capital of Angola's northwestern Zaire province. So one thing we know about Angola, we have done the research, is that it was colonized first by people coming from Brazil. So that's your Portuguese, includes your crypto Jews, your Sephardic Jews, your merchants, the Portuguese, and also includes some natives that had already offsprings of the Portuguese and the Indians. These were your colonists of Angola, not Europeans, or they were coming from Brazil first, wealthy Brazilians, wealthy Portuguese, European background, black Portuguese, black Caucasian Portuguese, through the merchants. These people colonized and that's when they founded this. I guess what you're showing me confirms what I already knew, you know. And they so this is not an ancient Congolese indigenous place, is what he's telling you guys. This was built by the Portuguese we're talking about, the so-called Portuguese, the cryptos, the merchants, you know, all these seafaring Portuguese that were colonizing in those times.
You see, I found out all these discovery, you know, this traveling to discover the rest of the world, in fact, was migrations of the people that was in Europe. You see, they talk about Christopher Columbus going to America, or this one going to this part of the earth to discover. In that time, in Europe, there was war. There was war everywhere. So there was not the state in Europe was not too quiet to put millions on people to go discover the world. You understand? In fact, the term explore mean etymologically mean to migrate. These people, migration. Egg to egg, eggs is a Latin term that means migration. Egg in Fulani too means to migrate. That's why I said the term Egyptos. Egyptos mean those who had migrate, or those that come from migration. Egyptos. And in Fulani, when we say Eggi, mean you are gone, because the Fulani language are very tied with the Latin language. But I think with time that will be more clear. But the people in Europe, that start around the I think 15th century. They start going living Europe. They start living Europe and going to settle in other places in the world, till New Caledonia. A coast was called Caledonia. Wherever
Caledonia.
Yeah. So yeah, the British Isles, Scotland, Ireland, ancient Caledonia.
Yes.
Or as we say, if we add an H in between that word, you get Chaldea, Chaldea.
Yes.
It is also called the Kanak people, the
Uh-huh.
Kanaki.
Yeah, the
Yes.
Kati. Yep.
Caledonia, and I even forget. So the people of Europe leave Europe. They leave Europe, and in the beginning there was not captured by people that sent them in another place. They was from themselves. They moved to another place because the war that was here.
So what he's talking about, guys, is that he's talking about during colonial times when, they were colonizing the Americas, and he's saying these Black Europeans, a lot of them left Europe and went to the Americas, not just as slaves, because we got the story, but willingly, because they had to leave. They were being persecuted. There was wars. There's a lot of stuff going on. We know the background, like we've done the research, So he's just kind of confirming that in case we don't know, right?
The people that was in war fighted by the England in Ireland, they leave Ireland and they go in the Caribbean. They go to Barbados, Montserrat, Guadeloupe. They go settle there. That's why when they go there, they had to make a low job, the small jobs, because when you are immigrant, you are poor. You see. So they hide this migration through the invention of the
Atlantic
slave
slave trade.
Yes, they hide it because some of the real owner of the so-called Europe today, is in America, in fact. So since they don't want to talk about it.
All right, hear what you just said? So actually the royalty of Europe live in America today. So actually the royals of Europe, a lot of them live in the Americas today. All right, listen.
They say no, you got there, but you are from Africa. That's a lie.
And then they told them they were from Africa. That's a lie. Oh my gosh, what is he saying? Yeah, that's a big lie. We already debunked those out of Africa theories. All right? You are the American Indians and the Black Europeans. Some of you are royal Black Europeans and royal Indians. Yep, we here, DJ Sipe knows.
You see? So the place that we call today Europe was Western Asia. Asia was limited around by the Middle East. The Middle East himself was Minor Asia. But when they conquer, they take
Asia Minor.
They take terms that refer to a social concept. They make it physical concept. Like Africa. Africa mean those who bow, who believe to the goddess Africa. The goddess Africa is Baphomet. It's the same god with two horns. Those who bow to the goddess Africa is the real African. That's why today in Africa you see them saying that the Maghrebian people are not African. It's not referred to a geographic place like Europe. Europe does not refer to a geographic place. Europe refer to a people. It is the same here. When they say Africa refer to a people. Africa does not refer to a land. Europe refer to a people, does not refer to a land.
Yoruba.
I have a video that I put on TikTok where I explain the origin of the Yoruba. The origin of the Yoruba is.
So I started asking him about the Yoruba guys, because he's mentioned something. I remember, guys, there's another guy here speaking. There was a lot of dead air and interruptions, so I try to get all that out. So I asked him, about what do you think about the name Yoruba? It sounds like Europa a lot. Like, what do you, so he starts telling me he has a video on TikTok, so make sure to watch it, about the Yoruba, but he's gonna break it down a little bit.
Very clear. They say they come from Yoruba. Yoruba is one of the true origin of the real Arabs. You see, in the Arabs, in the Arabs, there are two lineage. There are two lineage. The real Arabs. There was in the south of in the south of Arabia, in the Yemen today.
Yeah. So the real Arabs. Remember, like in Drop Nation, we learn about the proper Arab, the real Arab. So it says that there was a progenitor, and this is by the Yoruba people themselves. He's telling you, they tell you sometimes that they descend from Jarub. Jarub, listen. Jarub or Jarab, Jarub or Jarub. Yarub is an ancient Arabic personal name. He is the grandson of Abir, being the son of Khatan and the ancestor of the Himyarite and Sabian kings of Yemen. All right? From Yemen. A similar account places Jarub as Khatan's grandson. Jarub bin Yashub bin Khatan, and holds that he is the forefather of all Arab al-Ariba, the Arabs or pure Arabs. Yaruba, the pure Arabs of Yemen, the Yoruba people, anciently. You guys understand what I'm showing you here? Wake up. And I know a lot of the Yoruba people that follow me, so they're probably not liking this part. They want to be related to America. They are. Because there was a lot of people that went from the Americas to Western Africa, but not all of the Yoruba people are mixed with the people that went into from America. A lot of them have this blood right here. This is the original. When they came in fresh, this is what they were. They were coming from Yemen. He's going to tell you they went up to Syria, and they became part of the Umayyad Empire. Real Arab.
They had two lineages. One group is called the Himyar. Other groups was called the Kahalan. These two groups was claiming is to be descendant of one guy that is called Yoruba or Yoruba. Yoruba was the ancestor, and there was known for being to the real Arabs. That's why even today, if you talk with some people from the Middle East, they will tell you the real Arabs is Yemen. But these two groups, one was called Kahalan, the other was called Himyar. Himyar means light skin. Kahalan means dark skin. And it is interesting. When you say Kahalan in Arabs, that means dark skin. But Kaen, you see, Kaen is a Kahalan. Kaen is a dark skin. So these two groups was in the south of Arabia, in the so-called Yemen today. But when the Islam, the Mohammedan Islam, the revolution, because Muhammad does not create Islam, Muhammad make a revolution. When he make his revolution here, they got problem with the new Islam that Muhammad brought. So they fight the new Islam, but they was overcome. So they move from the south of Yemen. They flew to Syria. They flew to Syria and become part of the Umayyad Empire. Just like I said, the Umayyad Empire was against the Islam that was settled by Muhammad in the Mecca. They was fighting against the people that was in Mecca and Medina. Because the Umayyad Empire was the people of the Caucasus.
Yeah, so they went from Yemen. They went from Yemen up to Syria, and eventually they made their way into West Africa. You know.
Yes, no, they went to Syria, then become an empire. All the empire that have ruled the Islamic world, all the empire, so-called Islamic empire, none of them was agreed with the people that was supposed to follow the real Islam, meaning the people that was in Mecca and Medina. And Mecca has been the Salafist, the Wahhabiyah, the Salafist that is ruling today, the ruling class today in South Arabia. They take over there in 1941. But before these groups right now that is ruling South Arabia, none of the ancient group was agreed with in agreement with the people of Makkah. Meaning what? There was against Islam. There was not in agreement with Islam.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people think when we say Ottoman Empire or Abbasid Empire or Umayyad Empire, it was Islamic Empire. No, it was the opposite.
Yeah, I want to say one thing before you go. You're showing the map behind you right now, and that area, and what he was talking about, and you're talking about the Saudis and their relationship to the Ottoman Empire and all that. I've been doing research, you know, and let me just show you this. So when it comes to Saudi, modern Saudi, right? It says, as it says here, right? Saudi family Jewish. What type of Jewish? Because we know that that whole area you guys talking about, there was a big empire they called the Khazars, right? The Khazar. They also had Ottoman people working with them. They're also related to the Turks. The Khazars and Turks are very related anciently. And these Khazars are the ones that converted and, you know, became today's so-called, you know, Jews, right? So it says here that bin Jassid to the family of Musharraf, who belongs to Bani Tamim tribe, which goes back in the descent of Adnan, whereas Mustafa Taran states that Muhammad bin al-Wahhab is a descendant of family from the Jews of al-Dunama in Turkey. So this place in Turkey, where you're saying, you guys are talking about right now, and then you're saying it was anciently called Europa, it kind of makes sense to me. Look at everything that you guys are saying, right? And we got the same areas here with the Seljuk Empire. Who are these people really? Look, you got the double-headed eagle, the Seljuk dynasty. So it all same symbol of the Habsburgs, right? The double-headed Roman, Holy Roman Empire, right? The Habsburgs, the double-headed eagle, huh? All relates to me when you guys are talking. I'm like picturing all this stuff and connecting all the dots on my end. So like the history of the Jews in Dome in Turkey. So these are the Khazars, though. These are not the, you know, ancient Hebrew people. Yeah. So same people. You kind of it's very interesting to me.
But you see the name Khazar. Khazar is the same name, the same kind. It's the same kind.
Okay.
Khazar, Caucas.
Okay.
And the name Khmer Caspian.
Yeah.
It's the same Kha. It's the same Kha. In Arab they pronounce it Kabil. Kabil. It's the same name. It's the same name.
Caspian Sea.
And Kabar, yeah, Kabar too.
And these people was dark-skinned people. In fact, these people was dark-skinned people.
Yep.
You see, but maybe one day we will go we'll have more time than that. But maybe explain it more.
No worries. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so we can do this as many times you want. You know, just let Cimarron know.
But you do understand my English, huh? It's good. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, most of it. Yeah, I can understand. I think that and my audience will be able to understand.
Okay. So Cimarron, thank you, hein? Merci. À plus, on se rejoint en plein. Bon, Kurimeo, thank you, and
you're welcome. Thank you too. Thank you to you know share the info. You know, thank you.
Okay, merci.
Merci beaucoup, Lamine.
Merci beaucoup. Merci.
Yarama. Yarama.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. So, yeah, you know, thank you to Lamine for coming through. Appreciate Cimarron for the connect. Cimarron's been trying to get back with me and do a build for years, ever since our first build 4 or 5 years ago. And he's been busy connecting a lot of dots, meeting a lot of the people in Africa that speak French and getting the truth out as well, like you know this brother is. So again, make sure to check out his TikTok and Facebook. All right, I got the links in the description of this video. Also got Cimarron's YouTube. You know, basically covering all of this stuff that he's kind of commenting a lot more. We're gonna get with Cimarron too and do some videos and builds with him. All right, Cimarron, who is from Guadeloupe, the Caribbean, and French. All right, that's his general ethnicity, and he got a lot to say too and a lot of research done. So check out these people. And again, If you're still doubting anything we're saying today, just at least we got 3 good examples of a specific people like the Shona, the Hausa and Kanem Bornu people, and the Lebu people. I got videos on them. Go ahead and watch these videos. You're gonna see that they prove what he's saying about these people coming in from other parts of the world into Africa. Now he has a whole darker view on it because his people are the ones getting oppressed by these incoming migrants, right? So he has like a whole, maybe a little biased part, when it comes, they we, but it's history, and we can see why they have this view, and maybe some of the people from the other ethnic groups might say, "Oh, the Fulani are warmongers and they liars," and it's we understand the beef, but the history speaks for itself, research speaks for itself, and you know, we kind of see what's going on in the background. We kind of see when we watch the news, and we kind of see that something is going on and has been going on, something awful in the continent of Africa because of this whole foreigners coming in, taking other people's land, and doing the same thing like they did here in the Americas and all over the world. And that's what's been kind of, you know, keeping the peace in this area of the world. So I think this is very important to understand, and maybe we can get to a place where one day there is understanding, overstanding by everyone. There is a healing, and there is love. Love and under. Like, hey, maybe we should stop doing that. Maybe we did come in and take over these people's land at some point, and they took over some other people's land, and everybody just got to say sorry to each other and just forget, and learn from it, and also reparations, right? It's not just like, oh, I'm sorry, no, all right, fix it now, fix all the damage you've done. Let's correct the history. Let's stop treating people a certain way because they're from a different ethnic group or whatever, or race or color. You know, it just this is the reason, guys, because we don't know history. We're doomed to repeat it. We end up warring with each other, misunderstand all this, and we just keep repeating it. And again, this ain't about bashing on Africans or Africa. Again, I hope you understand that I have an actual African talking most of the video. It's not about bashing on Africans. We got to get everybody's point of view in history, and based on the research, it fits with what we've done. Here's the playlist again. If you want to catch those 3 videos that you haven't watched, I know a lot of you haven't. I got a lot of new subscribers. You can find my playlist if you go to my main page. You hit the playlist tab, and you'll see all different playlists. We got this one done today. I just created this one today. Africans not from Africa. Make sure you catch that, okay? Hey, Puma, thank you. Shout out to anybody that donated today. Laverne, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the build. I enjoyed it. I got up early on Sunday. I was a little late. I had to step out, and then I came late to the meeting. So the brother probably would have had more time, but I was kind of like an hour late, I think. I don't even know how late. I don't know. But he's in France, so it was a big time difference. But yeah, I was able to get on and talk with him, and I was, let's record some of this. Hey, Science, thank you, brother, man. Claiborne Science is really silky. Somebody with a dot as the name. Laverne and Puma, thank you for the donations. Appreciate you guys very much. Thank you for everybody that came through in the live. Again, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you understand the information that was shared with you today, how deep it is. All right. How deep it is, and just be careful how it spread. Don't be like, oh, now we're gonna hate on all these people. No, that doesn't mean hate on all these African people just because a lot of people, they have nothing to do with it. It's just their ancestors did what they did. They came because of necessity or whatever reason. They came into Africa and they took over other people's land, or just became the dominant ruling, and kind of marginalize others. But hey, we could be better people if we have some understanding of history. All right, I think so. We're definitely probably gonna have the brother back on. Talk about specific things, right? Because he had a lot to say. He even said at the end, like, I don't got no more time. We can talk for days, but we're gonna get him on for sure, and we're gonna follow up on the leads that he dropped today. Check out all this. Remember everything he was saying. I'm gonna follow up on all this, and I'm gonna prove it. I'm gonna prove everything he's saying for all the naysayers. I'm gonna prove it. Oh, he's just talking. He got no sources. He's just jealous because he's a Fulani. Nah, he knows more history than most of these so-called African scholars. who are actually from those other leading ruling ethnic groups, who are also very pro Pan-African, and part of the lie and pushing the lie. Why? I wonder why they're so adamant on pushing the out of Africa lies. Because they're not even from there. You guys understand now? Because they're not even from there. Do you guys understand why they pushing that out of Africa thing so much? Because they're not even from there, and they don't want you to find out they're not from there. All right? And that's all I'm going to say. That's all I got to say about that. Mama said love is like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're going to get. You never know what you're going to get. And now you got it. What you're going to do with the info. Hopefully it makes you a better person, a wiser person. Yo, my people, I appreciate you guys coming in. I'll give you your Monday back. All right? I appreciate you guys. That was a great month. We got another month coming in April. I'm going to try to make it a very interesting month. All right? See what we can drop. Thank you for being constant walls of support, like Drop says. Like thank you for all the support all these years, motivating me, all my moderators coming through, all my Patreons, all my longtime followers. Appreciate y'all. Thank you, man. Thank you. Much love, mi gente. Pura vida, mi gente. That out of Africa theory has been totally debunked in so many different ways, man. Man, I hope one day everybody in the world knows this. That's gonna be trouble, though. I think at first, but hey, it has to happen. What was in the dark must come out of light, and that's what's happened. The seals are open. Yo, check out Drop's latest videos with him talking to the Chat GPT. That's amazing. That is some real crazy stuff. Go check out Drop's videos. He got two parts on that. All right. Love y'all, man. Take care. Pura vida, mi gente. Wow. Yeah. Hold on. What do we have here? Conmeo by Chase. Signs. No, actually, my fault. This is by my boy Omet. Conmeo. Where you at? There we go. Love y'all, man. Take care. Much love and respect. The Pure Life